I want to talk to you about how to really outgrow your old self so that you can qualify for the blessings, qualify for the new season, so that you can actually actualize God's mandate for you on earth. So, talking about getting off your old self is actually about discovering and stepping into who you were really who you are originally meant to be. It's not about abandoning who you are. It's not about uh, it's not like somebody who wants to go for a cosmetic surgery or of some sort to transform your body. So, but that can be used as a literal example to explain how you need to renew yourself and get out of who you used to be. How do you get out of who you used to be? It is actually through a process of self-discovery. The problem with Christians we have today is that they do not know who they are. Just imagine somebody in a public bus having an altercation with the bus conductor, all right, and then both of them are shouting, raising their voice, and the simple question they ask themselves is, do you know who I am? And unfortunately, nobody answers that question. If somebody had answered that question to say, no, I don't know who you are, the quarrel or the fight would have stopped at that point. But because either of them does not know who they are, then they continue in that shouting match. So the most important thing you must do for yourself in the month of July is for you to actually discover who you are. It's self-discovery. If you don't know who you are, you will see yourself in the mirror and pass and keep looking for yourself. That's actually the reason why people are confused. A lot of people do not know who they are, so they want to become who the society says they are. They want to become who their friends say they are. They want to become who their enemies have said that they are. So you must identify who you are. You can't outgrow an old version of yourself until you understand your true identity and your purpose. And that's actually your eternal mandate. The mandate, the reason for which you were born, you must identify it. When you identify it, you discover that you have been living below the standard and below the standard that God has set for you. Then you outgrow it. You come out of it. Now, 3 steps which if you imbibe, you are going to outgrow this. Your old self is that you must discover your purpose. Discovering your purpose is the fundamental, the reason for which you were born. You know, when Jesus was born, when the angel came to talk about the birth of Jesus, the angel spoke to the mandate of Jesus, and he said, his name shall be called Emmanuel. You know, and he said, he's Jesus. His name shall be called Jesus, because he will come to save his people. This is the mandate for which Jesus was born, and Jesus lived that mandate. The question you have to answer today to self-discover yourself is, why are you born? What is your purpose of existence? Some of you live the purpose for which you were born and you chase frivolities. You want to have church position, you want to get into one administrative position or the other, and you forget the essence for which you were born. Listen, you're not going to give account to God for the position you held in church. God is not interested in the position you held in church, how you were a good financial secretary, how you were the chairman of this group, how you were the chairman of this board or whatever it is. That's your business. Heaven is not interested in that. What heaven will question you is the mandate you were born. How did you fare? How did you function? So you must discover who you are. What is the purpose of your existence? And this is the fundamental. Once you're able to answer this question to say, the reason for my existence on earth is to do A, B, and C, then you'll be focused. You will not be carried away by frivolities. You will not be carried away by the storm. You'll be focused on the reason why you were born, the reason for your existence, and you will actualize it. It is going to be a shame that you return back to God full. Imagine a car plant, an assembly plant, you know, where a car is designed, manufactured from the scratch, and then brand new is taken to the gas station and it is filled with gas. All right. The gas filled in that car is not expected to return with the car at the end of the day, because you're going on a marathon. So by the time the car returns, it's supposed to have dissipated the gas put in it. And that is how you are. So when you get back to God at the end of your stay, you must have exhausted the gas put in you. You shouldn't return back full as you were. No wonder St. Paul said, I am poured out as a drink offering. I've run the race. I've kept the faith. What remains now is the crown of life. So what will be your testimony at the end of life? You cannot have a good testimony unless and until you identify the purpose for which you were born. And identifying that purpose for which you were born is germane, is fundamental. In fact, it is the major question you must answer. That question is, why am I here? Are you here because you want to have all the money, marry all the women, have all the children? That's not the reason why you're here. That's not the essence. What is the essence? And the reason why you're here is different from the reason why I'm here. So you must identify what your package is. Go back to the manual, find out what your package is, and live in accordance with that mandate. That is where you find joy, you find satisfaction, because every day you do things that are in accordance with your mandate and actualize those goals and vision. There is this excitement that you have. My question for you here today is, who are you? Ask somebody by your side, ask yourself, say, who are you? I'm not talking about your title. I'm not talking about your rank. I'm not talking about the position you hold in church. That's very material. That's very unnecessary. That's flimsy. Heaven is not interested in that. So if all your hard work, all your expectation is because you want to hold one position in church or the other, you are a miserable person. You are a miserable person because you will not have fulfillment. God is not interested in your position. Your position does not move God one bit. It's just for administration here. And you're not even going to account. What you're accounting for is your purpose in life. I pray for you today that you're going to ask the very fundamental question: why am I here? What is the reason for my existence? Why did God create me? Today we are having this teaching through a device, a phone, and we are transmitting on social media. Somebody brought it in. Somebody created it. That's the purpose for which he was born. Were you just born here to live and die? And I always say here, each time you ask God to give you long life, you must be able to explain to God what you want to do with the life. So it's not enough to ask God for long life to live 120 years, and yet you don't know why you're here. So what will you be doing here for 120 years? Think about it.